Well, ladies and gentlemen, so welcome back to our regular programming, regular environment, regular studio. And this week we're going to be covering Sun in the 8th house in the sign of Leo for Capricorn ascendant people. And what happens when Sun is in the 8th house in its own sign of Leo for a Capricorn ascendant person. And obviously, you know, this is different from like Sun being in the 8th house or Sun being in the sign of Leo. We're like conjoining the two energies together now. And as always, if you do not know where your Sun is placed, what sign it's in, what nakshatra it's in, all the other astrological details, for that check out the links here. Check out my full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, and Aspects at the Speed of Light, including all my consultations at this link. So, Sun in the 8th house in the sign of, for Capricorn people, in the sign of Leo. Sun, as you know, represents the father, government, authority, soul, personality. It's part of your, light. It's actually represents your health. Because Sun, it's like light in anything. It's like, your CPU of your desktop. It's like the wires within the bulb. If it goes out, there's no light. So Sun is a very, very important planet. And Sun actually represents the light of God, Jyotish. You see, astrology, Jyotish, is not really controlled by Ketu or Jupiter as much. It's mainly first controlled by Sun. Because through Sun the light came, through Sun where exists, through Sun all the planet exists, through Sun we are here. So the light of God, known as Jyotish, is Sun. And then 8th house, as you know, represents the occult, mysticism, hidden knowledge, joint assets, life and death scenarios, surgeries, transformation. So in this scenario now, you have the 8th Lord in the 8th house in its own sign. And Leo represents a very regal, royal sign. Leo is about creativity. It's about children. It's about King's throne. It's about manifestation of creativity and networking, knowing people. So what is Sun now doing in this particular placement? So first of all, when the 8th Lord is in the 8th house in its own sign, it's going to protect. It's going to protect the vitality. It's going to evade the transformation that one may go through. Like sudden dramatic transformation for the bad, let's say financial downfall, sudden loss of, a relative or a very close family member. It's going to try to protect that part of your life as much as it can. And especially Sun being the king in the 8th house shows that a person will be able to rise to the top suddenly. Like something happens and a person suddenly becomes the king, meaning, let's say, for example, somebody is the Speaker of the House, let's say in the United States government, because I only know how the thing works here. So if you're the Speaker of the House and suddenly what happens is the president and the vice president dies. Either they're assassinated or they just suddenly die within a week apart of each other through natural causes. It can happen. So what will happen is the Speaker of the House will have to become the president suddenly. And this is what it represents, the sudden rise to the throne. Because remember, Sun is the king, Leo is the throne. But it's sitting in the 8th house, meaning it is going to wait for a sudden opportunity to rise to the top. And especially in Vedic astrological terms, it actually shows, it creates a particular yoga known as Vedic Raj yoga. And Vedic Raj yoga is exactly what I'm explaining. It represents sudden rise in life. Especially because 8th house is sudden thing, so it shows sudden rise in life. Like if it was happening in the 6th house, I would have said, well, through defeating enemies or by somebody else getting sick, you will rise. Or perhaps by borrowing money, you will rise in life. Like you borrow money for a company that you're creating, and suddenly everything works out, you pay your debts off, your company flourishes. But in the 8th house, it shows that sudden thing. And what this also shows me that you will always be able to shed a light on your enemies. 8th house represents hidden enemies. Enemies that you're not even aware of that exist. Sun is the light. So think of Sun as a flashlight. So in the 8th house, like basement is the 8th house in astrological sense. So you put a flashlight and you look inside. What is happening? Because 8th house is a very dark and gloomy place. It's the graveyard. It is things that are buried underground. So sun is shedding the light into it. So here, such people not only tend to find their hidden enemies, but they're very curious about the hidden world. They actually want to know, do ghosts exist? Are there paranormal activities? Does occult science work? Does astrology work? What is Tantra? What is Kundalini awakening and third eye awakening? And especially because sun is the father. Now, obviously, this is not going to be true for everybody because we don't know what nakshatra your sun is in, what planet is aspecting the sun. But father will be greatly interested in hidden science, hidden things. And father will be somehow making money through other people's assets, other people's money. Father could be a financial advisor. Father could be a preacher. Father could be a surgeon. Father could be working for the income tax department, like the IRS or whatever you have in your own country. Father could be working for that because 8th house is 11th from the 10th house. This also shows me that your in-laws, one of your in-laws or somebody in your spouse's family will be closely connected to the government. And they'll be very authoritative figure. Like, especially sun in the 8th house shows that the spouse's family comes from a very powerful lineage. Perhaps a regal royal lineage. And this sun in the 8th house also shows that your children will have a home made of stones. And it'll be a home that can have porticos in front of it. You know, like the pillars or an arc. Like, you know, when you go to like especially East Coast, there are a lot of houses with a portico or an arc. So your children will have that particular house in their life due to your position of the sun. And if you ever have any kind of like a paranormal experience, most likely it'll be your pitris with this position. Like your ancestors coming and visiting you and wanting to just give you some message. And this can also show that obviously 8th Lord in the 8th house shows one will have protection of longevity, meaning like the long life will prevail. So if you know, like you have desires to live till like 85, so you can do this and this, see your grandchildren, all of this sun will have you do that. This is a very, very powerful sun, especially for like political throne, political manipulation. Don't think that something a person will be very pure with this sun. No, they can be very good manipulators. They could be in the underworld. They could be the dawn of the underworld. And you have to see the combination of other planets and nakshatras to really come to that conclusion. And you know, you're quite powerful behind the scenes and underground. And especially actually if Ketu and Saturn aspects your sun, one could be a mortician. One could be working in a graveyard. One is fascinated with wanting to deal with dead bodies or becoming a detective. But again, I'm just speculating here. This is not like something that's going to happen for you. But the main thing that I just said, those are the main things that you need to focus upon. But you will, because this is your sun, you will have a sudden rise in life. Somehow, let's say your bosses are fired. You know, like what is it called? Corporate spring cleaning. Let's say the stock has gone down of your corporation and they have to let go of like 30% of their workforce. So your top bosses are let go, and you are the next in line, like the fourth in line to become the boss. And they're keeping you because you're very good at what you're doing. They're like, okay, you become the boss. Kind of like that movie, what was that movie? Margin Call. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie, Margin Call, with Kevin Spacey and what is this guy from Star Trek? It's about mortgage and all that. There you can see how the guy from the Star Trek, Spark, the new guy, he becomes the head risk manager after all the other people are cleaned out in the morning. So that's the way, you know, your position works in life. Okay, so guys, this was my analysis of Sun in the 8th house in the sign of Leo. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. If you want to know where your Sun is placed, all your astrological details, my books, reports, consultations, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.